Hey everybody, welcome back to a 40k journey. My name is Nate, and today we are going to be slap chopping some frost onto a Grey Knight Force Sword. If you're not familiar with it, slap chop is a method of quick painting miniatures that involves a zenithal highlight. That is a highlight that is focused directly on top of the miniature as though the light source were directly on top of it, and some dry brushing to kind of pre-highlight the model so that you can paint it with contrast paints. It's very quick, very easy, and achieves some great results, and we're going to try it with a frost effect on the sword. So I started with a base of Mechanicus Standard Gray, and then I gave it 2 coats of Aethermatic Blue. And then let that dry, and it's really important that you let that dry, because the next step is dry brushing, and your model really needs to be dry before you do that. So I've got some Yolthwan Gray here and a small dry brush, and I'm just going to give it a dry brush, mostly along the edges, but I also want a little bit to bleed over onto the rest of the blade so that it'll look like ice. It'll look like it has chips and cracks in it. It's going to look fantastic. So yeah, no need to be too delicate here. Just make sure that your brush really is dry. You don't want any globs of paint on here. That's not going to look good. But all right, moving quickly through here. Just do the other side, and beautiful. All right, and it's okay to kind of stipple a little bit on there again, get some of those kind of bubbly effects. But okay. Now we are coming in with Briar Queen Chill and our just regular Abteilung 502 Marta Kolinsky 00 brush, which I absolutely love. It's one of my favorite brushes. And we want to make sure that the Briar Queen Chill is nice and thin, and then just give it a couple coats. And if you like the way it looks after just 1 coat, then leave it. Personally, I think it looks pretty darn good at this stage. But I also think, for my own personal preference, it could do with just a little bit more. I'm really liking the Briar Queen Chill. If you haven't tried it, check it out. I got to try it at my local Games Workshop store before I actually bought it, and it's nice. I've also used it for Adeptus Mechanicus robes and several other things. I love it. So, okay, now we are coming in with White Scar, and we're going to kind of stipple the brush. That's just kind of lightly tapping it on the very edge of the blade. And it's okay if it's not consistent. We actually want that. We don't want it to be a perfectly even straight line, because that's going to look artificial. That's not really what we want. Now that we've done the sides, we're going to go do the middle, and it's a little tricky to do that with the side of a brush, so I'm just going to be careful and freehand it right down the middle. All right, not too bad. Okay. And I messed up a little bit at the bottom, but that's okay. We can cover that up, or just leave it if you don't really care. But the last step is to, still using our same brush and the White Scar, is to very quickly drag the brush across the blade in straight lines to simulate like cracks and chips in the blade. And be careful when doing this. It's a little easy to kind of glob too much on, and it's easy to overdo the effect. So be judicious about it. Make sure the lines are parallel. You don't want any curved lines. And I'm just going over it one last little time to kind of stipple a little bit more on the edges to make it a little less even. But there we go. Simple, easy, looks fantastic. So thank you so much for joining me for another episode of a 40k journey. My name is Nate. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the video, and consider supporting the channel on Patreon.